A strange new release, upcoming titles, so this week, highly anticipated, a new Bethesda VR title, Apple VR headset, Facebook privacy rededication, and more on this VR Untethered podcast. Hello and welcome to the VR Untethered podcast, where I am untethered from absolutely everything today, including headphones. Yes, it's another solo edition of the VR Untethered podcast. Unfortunately, Brad is still out. It's only me, not Brad. So, hopefully I can be entertaining enough to entertain you for the rest of this informative hour of untetheredness. We shall see. You may also notice that I'm not in my usual recording environment. I'm out in my living room today, and my son is behind me doing school with his headphones on, so if you hear any random laughing or complaining noise, just ignore it. That's where it's from. So, highlights of this week for me. I think my biggest highlight was playing around with my new iPhone 12 Pro and so figuring out how to do LiDAR scans, photography, LiDARgraphy, I don't know what you want to call it. Basically, 3D scanning with LiDAR is kind of like photogrammetry, but not, because it's using the LiDAR sensor instead of taking a whole bunch of photos and stitching it together. So, Sketchfab announced that like 4, 5, 6 more apps integrated upload to Sketchfab with their LiDAR scanning apps, and so they decided to put on a LiDAR scan challenge for the month. The deadline is February 1st, and the prize is a $100 Apple gift card and 6 months free Sketchfab Pro. So I figured, hey, that's a good opportunity, a good way for me to learn the ins and outs of my new device, how to use it in this fashion. So I've got a couple entries up there. It was interesting, fun, and a little frustrating as well, because I'm trying to still learn which apps and which approaches are better for which kinds of objects, because what is good for trying to do a model like a bicycle is not necessarily good for doing something like a mural, the side of a building. So point cloud based apps seem to work better for me for the smaller, more intricate models, whereas the mesh-based ones seem to work better for the large surfaces, like a mural on a wall or graffiti on the side of a train car or whatever. So it's been interesting trying to figure all that out. So now on to the new releases, which is kind of not a new release, but a new release at the same time. Here's what I mean. I believe this app came out in Japan last year, like in November or October or something like that. But it was recently re-released in the U.S. store. the Kizuna Eye, Touch the Beat. It's kind of Beat Saber-ish, but nowhere near as precision-oriented as Beat Saber, from what I can see in the trailers. It doesn't matter if you hit the notes this way or this way or this way, or as far as I can tell. And it's primarily a way to enjoy a virtual concert from a virtual artist, kind of like Hatsune Miku. This is another virtual artist, and it's a way to enjoy songs and concerts put on by her. So, it does not look like it's an app for me, because I'd probably get bored with it pretty quickly. But if you are interested in this kind of app, hey, go check it out. Now moving on to the upcoming titles that are upcoming this very week, because I'm recording this on Monday the 25th. And I suppose I might as well tack into the new releases the fact that Gravity Sketch is now free. That's right. They said January 25th. This is January 25th, so it should be free in the store for anybody to download. So if you've been wanting it but have been on the fence about it because of the cost, well, now it is free. You can dive in, check it out, and have fun with it. All the features are there except for collab and one other feature, I forget which. Those ones are currently reserved for corporate clients like Ford, or that are using it as part of the business. So, but everybody gets access to all the other features, so including FBX and OBJ output or export. So anyway, back to the upcoming titles coming out this week. We have Gorn, that is coming January 28th, and Yupitergrad, I saw confirmed somewhere, has coming out on January 28th. But both of these are highly anticipated titles. They have been out for a while on the PC VR store, and now they are finally coming to Quest. Gorn is a gladiator-style battle against enemies with ragdoll physics and kind of, it looks like not terribly great AI intelligence. And you beat the crap out of them. It's a very bloody and gory game, but you can also switch the settings so that instead of blood and gore coming out, it's candy, like they're a piñata. So if you like that kind of game, you should go for it. It's coming out on the 28th. It's $20. It will not be crossed by, I believe. Yupitergrad is... there's a whole slew of games with this kind of movement mechanic, either coming out or in the works, but it's kind of like a Spider-Man VR in a outer space environment. You move along using grappling hooks and whatnot, and swinging. So it looks like it might be a fun game. It's a kind of cel-shaded look, but that's similar, as I mentioned, to at least a couple other games. One that's been making a lot of noise lately is Grapple Tournament. That's out on Steam, early access, I believe. And it's kind of like Unreal Tournament, I've heard, but with the grappling hook mechanics, instead of, I guess, rocket jumping. I don't know. But you can grapple, pull yourself fast. You shouldn't have someone grapple, shoot out behind your head and pull yourself away. So it opens up a whole lot of unpredictability in the movements of the other player, and it's cel shaded look. And there's also an app or a game that has been in development for the Quest for a while. I haven't heard anything from it lately, but it's a single player. I don't know if they're working on multiplayer for it or not, I forget, but it's called Swarm. If I remember right, way back in the early days, it used to be called Untitled Grapple Game, or something like that. But it is a game where you have floating platforms all around you, and you have to keep in constant motion, grappling them, swinging or pulling yourself up, swinging to the next platform, etc. Because if you drop down and you hit the water, you die. And there are enemy bots flying around you that you have to shoot. Some of them are going to shoot back. Some of them are very difficult to hit because they have shields or they're just really fast moving. And it's got achievements in it, like if you go and you get yourself soaring all the way up extremely high in the sky, you'll get an achievement because you went up so high. If you swing down and you barely graze the water, you'll get an achievement of getting your toes wet or whatever it's called. So some of the levels are really challenging. It's kind of like it's more of an arcade style game though, and it's set up like Angry Birds and all those things where you get 1, 2, 3 stars on the level, and you should progress to this level and then that level, and you have to get so many stars before you can progress to the next level, or so. And some of the levels are quite fiendish. I play tested it, so it's a fun game as well. But yeah, there's quite a few games that are using a similar mechanic to Yupitergrad for the movement. So this is one that, depending on the price, I'm not sure what the price is going to be yet. I might end up getting because I like that style of movement. That's pretty fun. Alright, now moving on to news. As I teased at the beginning of this, there appears to be a new Bethesda VR title in the works. On the Australian government rating site, a new title called what is it, Project 2021 or just 2021A, or let me pull the article up. It is codenamed Project 2021A, and it will be developed by id Software ID. What is that software company known for? Oh yeah, Doom, Wolfenstein, Quake. There's not really any details on it except that it's VR and is 18 plus rating for high impact violence and online interactivity. So that implies that it might be a multiplayer game. It implies that it's going to be something Doom-like, Quake-like, Rage-like, whatever, because of the rating. But we don't know a whole lot more about this. Upload VR was speculating about it, wondering if it's going to release on the Facebook or not, because ZeniMax is involved, and ZeniMax was in that notorious lawsuit against Facebook because of John Carmack. Now, the ZeniMax is now owned by Microsoft, though, so maybe that means everything has been smoothed over on that front. Who knows? But there does appear to be a new VR title from Bethesda coming out. And I think the supposed release is it's gonna that article doesn't have it. This one I think might just yeah, year of production listing for 2021. So whether that means it'll actually release this year or if it'll be made this year and released next year, who knows, but something to be looking forward to. Now, another bit of news is the Facebook privacy memo. Facebook, as we all know, is notorious for privacy issues, and there was a memo leaked recently where they are talking about how they need to have a greater focus on privacy and how they want to be differentiated based on privacy. So it's from Bosworth to Facebook Reality Labs, saying that they will be starting with the assumption that we cannot collect, use, or store any data. The burden is on us to demonstrate why certain data is truly required for the product to work. Even then, I want us to scope it as aggressively as we can, holding a higher bar for sending data to the server than we do for processing it locally. I don't want us to just meet the consumer expectations for privacy today. I want us to differentiate our products on the basis of privacy. Let other companies scramble to keep up with us. So they want to transition to becoming the leader in terms of privacy and be known for the opposite of what they are currently known for. So that is a good goal. It remains to be seen how well they implement it and if this new focus is too little too late or not. I mean, they've got a lot of negative momentum to try to overcome here. I mean, probably part of the reason for this is all the lawsuits they are facing that are based around this very issue. So, this is likely, at least in part, a response to that, knowing that they're going to need to change things if they don't want to be broken up. So if they can present this, I am speculating here, but I am speculating that maybe part of the reasoning is if they can present this new shift in focus, they can mitigate some of the fallout from the lawsuits, which are antitrust, anti-privacy. So we'll see. Something to keep an eye on. In other news, Magic Leap has announced a partnership with the Google Cloud. So basically, they're gonna use the Google Cloud to deliver enterprise solutions on the Google Cloud Marketplace and explore cloud-based spatial solutions running on Google Cloud. Again, this isn't really going to affect daily users like you and me, this is an enterprise-oriented thing, but still, it is interesting that Magic Leap, despite all the layoffs that they had to do, all the restructuring, they're not dead. They are still in the game. They are pushing forward to see what they can do and try to remain viable. So, always good, in my opinion, to see companies sticking around instead of what happened with the Wave XR, which is being sunsetted, because in large part they relied on Google Poly, and they'd have to retool everything in order to not rely on Google Poly, and they've been kind of declining in popularity and usage, so they're going the way of the dodo, it seems. Whereas Magic Leap is, they restructured, they redirected, they are still doing that, so I prefer seeing what Magic Leap is doing to what the Wave is doing. So, other big news. There might be an Apple VR headset coming our way as early as next year. I know this has been rumored a lot already. Apple VR, Apple AR headset. But now there appears to be more substance to those rumors, in that there have been leaks and whatnot. So it looks like this will be kind of like a Quest, except that it's I think using 2 cameras for the SLAM. I think and the controllers are going to be using so something else. Or actually, no, I'm confusing that with the Noto headset. Sorry, ignore that. I don't think we have any details on the hardware specifications yet. It's just that it's speculated that it will be a high-end device and is only intended as a kind of transitionary device until they fully develop what they want for the consumer device. So if that is true, that it is a high-end device and it's going to possibly be more aimed at enterprise than consumers, then it may not affect you and me very much. But it's still something to keep an eye on, see what it involves, because it will have some AR in it as well. So it's going to possibly be the first official AR/VR hybrid headset. So it's definitely something to keep watching. In other news, Live now supports full-body avatars from ReadyPlayer.me. ReadyPlayer.me, in case you have forgotten what it is a service, a website where you can take a selfie and then have an avatar auto-generated that you can then fine-tune and choose clothing attire for, that can then be used across the board in many different software titles and VR platforms. The Live integration is one more step forward toward that goal, and you can already, if you want, to download the avatar and then upload it into whatever app or whatever. For example, VR chat. If you know what you're doing, you can upload it into VR chat. The Live, specifically speaking, VR chat support would be a little bit weird, because this part has always seemed a little bit weird to me. You can have an avatar in the game, but with the Live full body avatar, you'll be shown in your stream or your recording as wearing a different avatar than what you're actually wearing in the game. So it gets a little bit too meta at that point. But it's cool that they are moving forward with this and that they now have the live integration. Other big news for people that are into a certain game is Beat Saber now has 90 hertz support. That's right, you can now slice those blocks at 90 frames per second on the Quest 2. Don't think it's a surprise to the Quest 1, even though, as we know from previous episodes, previous discussions, it is possible to hit 90 hertz on the Quest 1, but because it didn't get rated for it, I don't think they are going to unlock it, especially because they're not making the Quest 1 anymore, and it likely will be sunsetted, unfortunately, near the end of this year. So I don't think they're going to unlock the 90 hertz support for the Quest 1. But if you have a Quest 2, now you can play Beat Saber at 90 hertz. So Population 1 is starting Season 1 soon. There is a sign-up form if you are interested in early access to it. This is kind of a testing of the waters for how a season will work. So there will probably be changes made as a result of how this one runs and works, so that season 2 is done even better. I don't know all the details of what will be involved in it yet, but if you are interested in it, the forum can be found in many places online, and I will try to remember to drop a link to the forum in the description of the video. And then moving on, this is kind of big news for me. Korg, a very well-known music manufacturer, they do synths and machines and all that. It looks like they are working on a music studio app for Quest 2. It's unclear as to exactly which devices and platforms it is coming to, but the teaser video showed a Quest 2. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean anything definitive. I know that because there are way too many ads talking about positionally tracked headsets, and then they show them wearing a Gear VR or an Oculus Go. So just because they're showing a Quest 2 doesn't necessarily mean 100% that it will be on the Quest 2. But if it is on the Quest 2, that would be pretty awesome. I'm always on the lookout for a good music creation app. So that is something to keep an eye on and to keep a watch out for. Another game that is making the rounds on social media and whatnot lately is Street Ball League. This is kind of an NBA Jam type of game. Half-court basketball, horse, all that kind of stuff. It looks like it's got achievements. You can do dribbling stuff. You can shoot. You can slam dunk. So it looks like it's got potential to be a good basketball game in VR, which is something that surprisingly hard to do. I mean, Phasmophobia has a basketball with a hoop that you can toss the ball into, and it's really difficult to do. Contractors has a little basketball court area. Very difficult to get the ball into the hoop. Virtual Battlegrounds has a basketball court. Again, very difficult to get the ball into the hoop, and none of those let you dribble the ball. You can only hold the ball, walk around with it, and then throw it. So, Street Ball League looks like it might be good. And there is a game that's been out for Rift for a while that is considering coming to Quest. It is called Breath Tech. And it is a game where you use your breath and sounds to solve puzzles. And they are considering coming to Quest, which I think would be super awesome. That sounds like a very cool way of solving puzzles and doing a puzzle game in general. So that is one that I am keeping my eye on. I have not played the original game, but just the concept of it sounds cool. So Big Screen now has supported full movies courtesy of Pluto.tv. You can watch, I think the current selection is like 5 or 6 movies, so it's not a terribly huge selection at this point, but instead of renting, you can just watch the movie without needing to worry about going to the website and purchasing it and then coming back into the app or whatever. You can just click on the movie and start watching, as long as you don't mind ads. So, and our last little bit of news, something mildly entertaining and potentially useful. There is a Sweat Snapchat lens. What this is a lens that uses the front-facing camera, and it uses basically body tracking and whatnot to guide you through a little workout. It shows you the form and the motion you are supposed to do, and you have to get through as many of the little workouts as you can before the time runs out. And it tracks how well you are matching the form, how many repetitions you did. So that's kind of a cool use of the Snapchat AR technology. And I look forward to seeing more stuff like this done with Snapchat, with the Facebook AR stuff, Instagram AR. You know, that's kind of a cool use of it because it ties it into more immediately a social and a little bit of a competitiveness of it. So, and that, my friends, finally brings us to the end of this episode. So, thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of the week. Remember, like and subscribe, and drag your friends over to like and subscribe also, and force them to keep watching until they actually like us. Bye. Have a great rest of your week.